guys, so I have a very relaxed video today. Blizzard, no, it's not blizzarding, Haley. This is gonna be a long one. That's not sweet enough. I was talking to my friend Allie and she was saying how stressed out she was about finals week coming up for colleges, and I was like, I need to talk to you guys about that because I have some tips and some kind of unique strategies on how to plan your scheduling and your studying and to stay sane during the whole process, but also make the most of your time so you're not either like backtracking, wasting time, you're being as efficient as possible. So I'm going to share with you guys my top tips for studying and preparing for your college exams. Whew, get comfy. We're gonna relax. Oh, I have my Ringling College of Art and Design shirt on because I almost went there. Long story short, I was going to be an illustrator and whatnot and go to school for it. I ended up not going to Ringling, but Michelle Phan went to Ringling, and I just think that's really interesting. So anyway, okay, so when you're getting ready for exams, a lot kind of jumbles up in your head. You think about everything in a whole rather than categorizing it. And so what you want to do before I share with you how to make a study guide, because this is like a life-changing study guide, I'm not even joking, like I don't know why I wish I would have had this in high school because it would have saved my butt so many times. But you have kind of like 3 main areas that you need to think about before you even start studying, and they are the context of the entire situation. So that means, do you have the tools to be able to do what you need to do? Are you prepared in that way? Is this going to be something that's super taxing on you mentally? You know, like what is this really entailing? The second thing is the priority. So how important is it? What tasks are super urgent? What do you have to get done pretty soon? And then something that's also really important is your own mental state. Are you energized for this? Are you ready to tackle this? Where are you? Are you drained? Are you already done with this semester? Where are you? So this system is going to help you to batch all of these tasks together in a certain priority system so that way you're being efficient. It's also going to help you to take the larger priorities or the larger projects that you have and break them down into smaller tasks. And all of those things that you feel like you have to do are going to be streamlined, and it's going to be so simple for you. So you should have one area where you keep a running task list, a place that is kind of a brain dump. Let's say, I do this with my planner a lot, it's sort of like the monthly overview of everything that has to get done. And then each day I have a smaller list of things that I'm going to do that specific day. And being able to cross things off of both lists is very, very rewarding. So you can take the same system and actually make a study guide with this method. So I'm going to share with you how to do it because talking about it is slightly confusing, but it's foolproof pretty much if you do it correctly. So we're just gonna jump on in. Preferably say that you should have different colored pens. I think it's easier. If you don't like the look of that, try different colored highlighters over top of a black pen, but pick a different color for each class. To write out the specific exam, so let's say we have Spanish. Then underneath of that, give yourself some space, couple lines, probably like 6 or 7 lines until you write your next exam. And do that until you've completed all of the exams that you have coming. Now on the far right of that, you're going to give each exam a number. Your scale could be 1 through 5, 1 through 3, 1 through 10, but it's a difficulty rating. So I would pretty much just do it based upon the number of exams you have. That way it's already putting them into a numerical like gradient. So if you have 5 exams, I would go 1 through 5. If you have 4 exams, I would go 1 through 4. Because either way, when you're prioritizing, you can't do 2 things at one time, so makes sense, right? Now you're going to divide each exam into study units. So those units could be based upon the chapters that you've studied. If it doesn't really work out for you to do chapters, you could do a period of time, you could do a book that you're studying. What's another one that you would divide it by? Simply a topic. Come on, dogs, hush. You're just gonna have to listen to them, I'm sorry. So under Spanish, let's say we have 4 different units for Spanish, 4 chapters for Spanish, and you're going to rate those chapters by their difficulty. Again, you would go 1 through 4 because you have 4 units, right? Got it? Do that for every single exam that you have, and continue. So this part, it gets a little tricky, but stay with me. You're going to flip to a new sheet of paper and you are going to divide the units by the days. What, Haley? What are you doing? You're dividing numbers and days together? How does that work? Let me tell you. So you have to look at how many days you have until each exam. Okay, so let's say you have world history and you have 5 units in world history that you need to study for, and you have 6 days of studying that you can allot for this. That means that you're going to get 1 day to study each unit, right? Because 5 divided by 6, 1. All right, so we've figured out how many days we have to study for each class, okay? Now it's up to you to decide in what order you want to study those units. So for Spanish, let's say that the 4th chapter was the hardest chapter, and you don't necessarily need to study chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. We can work backwards, whatever way you feel you're going to benefit from, because if you're studying the harder stuff first, not only is it at your freshest so that you're retaining more, you're more motivated and energized to study, but it also gives you more time that if you do have questions, you can go and see your professor. You have more time to kind of let it soak in. So I recommend working hardest to easiest. All right, so we've got everything figured out. You know what your exams are. You know what units you have to be studying, so what's the material for your test. You know how hard all of those are for you individually, and you know how much time that you have to study all of these things and the order that you're going to do it in. So now you're kind of like, okay, I get it, but visually I can't see it. So you need a calendar. Hopefully you guys all have a calendar or a planner system that you can mark all of your assignments down in. If you don't, I have a plethora of videos about planners and studying planners. Technically, I guess I study planners. You can click on one of those if you're not sure what I'm talking about. So the colors that you wrote down your exams with on those pieces of paper are the same colors that you're going to use on the calendar to refer to those specific. Oh, there's a hair in my eye. Okay. So on the calendar, you're going to use the same color that you wrote the classes down. So if you wrote Spanish in blue, it's going to be blue on your calendar as well. So first things first, put all of the exam dates on your calendar. Go do it. Plan out your studying on your calendar. So in each little day, you're going to write down the unit that you're studying and the amount of time that you're studying. So you're gonna pick Spanish Unit 1 for an hour on, let's say, the day closest to the exam, because again, those were your easier ones, right? So we're working backwards here. Again, that's going to be specific for you. So that's just something that you're going to have to figure out when you're planning out your schedule. All right, so this last thing that I'm going to share with you after I have a sip of coffee. The last thing I'm going to tell you to plan is to anticipate failure. Haley, what? You're always Miss Positivity, telling us to go after our goals and try hard and life. Well, yeah, but I'm human, you're human, we're all human, and we mess up sometimes. We get down, we lose our motivation, we get tired, we don't always do things correctly, and that's okay, and that's expected. You will procrastinate. It's a known fact. People procrastinate, they put things off. You might be going hard for an hour studying. You may take 3-hour breaks, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I was doing so well, what just happened? You didn't anticipate that failure. It's one thing to say like, oh, I'll take a study break, whatever, but to actually write it down in your planner and allot that specific time for your break is super important for you mentally, and it's going to help you to not take random longer breaks in the future. So there's this thing in studying called the pain point. It's where you are grueling trying to get through the last little bit and you're like, I don't think I'm gonna make it, I'm burned out. That's the pain point, and you need to anticipate the pain point. And it's okay, everyone has a pain point, like it's cool. Don't stress. This coffee's going into my system very fast. So every day you need to set time for yourself to take a walk, get a snack, talk to a friend, play a video game, do something just kind of like relax. Don't stress yourself out. Don't be like, all right, during my break, I'm gonna write all my emails to my internships, and no, chill out. Exercise. Exercise is super, super, super important. Exercise is amazing. You get endorphins released, dopamine is released, all your feel goods are released, oxygen is pumping through your blood, and it helps you, oh, I cracked my fingers. It helps you to just relax a little bit. You'll finish that workout and feel accomplished. It's also another way of feeling accomplished, you know? It's like one more thing you checked off your list for the day. Also, staying hydrated while studying is huge. Before you study, grab your drink, grab a snack if you need it. Staying hydrated can actually help your mental state as well. If you're thirsty and you don't really realize you're thirsty, it can make you not think properly. It can make you feel lightheaded. You can get headaches. So just keep a big bottle of water with you on your desk at all times. Look at everything as a whole, right? You've got all these big projects, big events, big exams. You have to break them down into smaller pieces to be able to tackle them, and you have to allot the specific time, right? So that's the plan. Now there's 2 more points I need to make about this. You have 2 modes. You have your robot mode, and then you have like your do mode, and you can't do them both at the same time. And this actually took me a long time to figure out, and it wasn't until I figured this out that my work was not as streamlined as it could have been. I spent too much time going in between plan, do, plan, do, plan, do, when I should have just had these like massive planning sessions and then a lot more doing sessions, because I wasted so much time with the planning and the creating and the thinking too much that it ended up becoming kind of a failure because I ended up not doing anything. So like a month before your exams should be like your planning. You're getting everything together. Your exams, your old quizzes, your homeworks, notes, meeting with your teachers and professors, doing all of that stuff. So that way when it really is time to hunker down and study, you're like, I'm just gonna open my books and I'm good to go. All right, so before I leave, the last final studying tip is your space. Your space is so important, and I feel like in college that can be kind of difficult depending on your situation. Dorms, I know, like freshman dorms, I couldn't imagine studying in a freshman dorm. You definitely need to find your own time, and you know, make sure that the cafes and everything like work with your schedule. Kind of plan that out too, like where are you going to be studying? That's another thing that you don't want to forget. Because you could get to a location, you could say, you know, I'm gonna study this unit today for this long at this location, and you get there and it's packed, right? So you need to pick places that you know are going to be like a guaranteed place for you, and if not, at least have a backup like ready that's in, you know, close proximity. Also in your space, if you are in your apartment, your dorm, your house, whatever, distractions, try to keep them off, turn your phone off, turn your computer off unless you really need them to study. Just keep them away and set alarms for yourself. And every time an alarm goes off, maybe you do 5 squats, 10 push-ups, 20 jumping jacks, just to kind of get yourself going, re-energize yourself. Energy creates energy. So it's a kind of a little trick that I like to do during the workday as well. If I'm feeling like a slum, I will, before I go for my coffee, which will happen, I will do these little mini bursts of exercise. Again, you got to do what works for you, but that always works for me. Again, stay hydrated, have a snack with you. I know a lot of people do the thing where like they'll put candy in between like each chapter of a book, and then that way they get candy like after each chapter. It doesn't have to be candy, it can be whatever you want, but I'm just saying, it's a good incentive. I'm also gonna link my favorite Pandora and Spotify relaxation and study music playlists for you guys, because I love listening to smooth jazz when I'm working and studying. It's just the best thing ever, and it really helps me. So that is what I'm doing. Why I hear yelling? Weird. So it is getting way too dark for me to be filming, and I should probably go and let you guys study for finals, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got a lot out of it. I really wanted to get this out to you guys ASAP before finals were in full swing and you guys didn't have enough time to plan all this stuff. So hope you guys are doing well and survive finals. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and if you are not subscribed yet, you should click that little button down there, and also check me out on Instagram. On the gram. So I will see you guys later. Bye.